Hello again and welcome to our May 2025 edition of Quick Kit. Links to everything we mentioned will be down in the description below. Let's get into it. Sony has been pretty busy this month. First off, they announced a new minor update version of the FX3, which is known as the FX3A. This new camera has an improved rear LCD, replacing the old 1.44 million dot one with a 2.36 million dot one used on the FX30. It is also ever so slightly more power hungry. Both the infrared and NFC modules have been removed, and lastly the included charger has also changed to the new BCZD1, which I personally think is a great change, as this one is a USB-C powered dual channel charger and it's just so much better than the original one that came with the FX3. These are all pretty minor changes, and aside from them, it's the exact same camera as the FX3. Up next, they released a bunch of new firmware for a few of their different cameras. This includes the A7 IV, A7S III, ZVE1 and A7C2. The A7 IV and ZVE1's updates are pretty minor, but the other cameras are pretty interesting. The A7S III has seen log shooting mode added, which allows you to use a monitoring LUT of your choice while shooting log. This was previously limited to the FX series cameras, so it's great to see that it's been added to this camera. They've also added the ability to enable focus magnifier while using the bright monitoring mode, a golden ratio grid, focus bracketing shooting, and the ability to create stills from using shot marks while shooting or playing back video. The A7C2 has had a bunch of these features added as well, but also the ability to set the recognition target to auto in autofocus so it can switch between humans and animals on the fly. It also now has the framing stabilizer feature, which has been in previous Sony cameras, dynamic active stabilizing mode, and a bunch more. These are both really solid updates and make these already fantastic cameras even better. I've put links to all the different firmware in the description below. They also announced their latest cinema line camera, the FX2. We managed to check this camera out just before release, so if you want to learn the full ins and outs of it and how it performs, please check that video out. Long story short though, it's kind of like Sony combined the FX3 and the A7 IV together, as it shares similar sensor technology to the A7 IV and the rough body design of the FX3. But with a few new things sprinkled on top. It can capture really nice detailed photos and lovely downsampled 4K video. One of the biggest additions though has to be its new large tiltable viewfinder, which really changes the way you use this style of camera. It's really nice to use. It has a few other updates as well, like Sony's latest AI processing chip, dynamic active mode stabilization, rotatable monitoring controls, Big 6 control, and a bunch more. It's priced at £2,700 for the body only version and $3,150 if you want the XLR top handle, and it's available to pre-order right now. Next, they announced a new wireless remote controller and shooting grip. These are Bluetooth controllers to be used with Sony's range of mirrorless cameras. They have controls for a few different parameters including shutter release, video record, and zoom. The remote controller can be inserted and removed from the grip, and you can also fold the grip out like a little mini tripod. You can get the controller itself for around £75 or with the grip for $120, which isn't bad for the kind of functionality it has. Lastly, they announced their latest G Master zoom lens, the 50-150mm f2 G Master. This new lens is aimed at creatives needing a high quality zoom for low light environments. Its bright f2 aperture throughout its entire range does make it quite large, weighing in at roughly 1,340 grams. It features an 11 blade iris, internal zooming and focusing, and uses Sony's excellent XD linear motors for fast, accurate autofocus. This new lens will pair really well with Sony's 28-70 f2 to provide a really good focal range for anyone needing reliable Sony performance but not wanting to carry around loads of primes, though this does come at a price of just under £3,800. Fujifilm has announced the X-Half, their latest digital camera inspired by half-frame film cameras but reimagined for the social media age. This intriguing new camera builds on the vintage-inspired design ethos of Fujifilm's other cameras, but has a few really unique features for photographers wanting to have a bit of fun. It features a 1-inch 17-megapixel back-illuminated sensor, has a 10mm f2.8 lens, which gives a roughly 32mm 35mm equivalent field of view, and can capture 3x4 photo and videos, ideal for social media platforms. It has a range of film emulations and other filters such as halation and expired film, has a film camera mode which tries to give you the experience of film photography, and can combine two portrait images into a single frame to emulate half-frame film cameras. It looks incredibly compact and robust, has Fujifilm's classic industrial design, weighs just 240 grams, has a vertically optical viewfinder, rear touch LCD for control, and is available in 3 different colours. It looks like a compelling compact travel or everyday carry camera for anyone interested in capturing candid photos. Though it can do video, the test footage I've seen out of it doesn't look amazing. It's available to pre-order now for just £699 and will be available from the 12th of June. It's going to be popular because it's a Fuji camera that people will be able to travel with, which has become incredibly lusted after, and it has some really fun looking features. However, for more professional or power focus users, the XM5 may be worth checking out instead, as it's priced quite similarly but is a much more competent photo and video camera. DxO have released their Arla Lustra series of cinema primes. These surround their existing Arla series of primes, but have had their coatings reworked to give a more soft golden glow to the flare and provide a slight halation to the highlights. This coating change has resulted in their T-stop changing from T1.4 on the original Arla lenses to T1.6 on the Lustras. You can tell these lenses apart from the original set by their beautiful looking bronze housing. Otherwise though, they seem to share similar specifications to the original Arla, just with the coating changes. From the footage I've seen from these, they look really nice. I liked the regular Arla lenses, but these warmer flares are more my style. There are only 100 sets of these available globally, so if you want to grab some for yourself, drop care@cvp.com and email. With the announcement of the DxO Vespid 2s back at NAB, DxO have dropped the price of the original Vespid primes by quite a chunk. The Vespids were announced all the way back in 2022 and since then have cemented themselves amongst filmmakers wanting an affordable set of well-built compact cine primes with a fantastic range of focal lengths available and an image liked by many. So if you're an existing Vespid set owner looking to expand their set or wanting to grab a lens or a set for yourself, now is certainly the time to do so. Up next, Panasonic has had a pretty busy month as well. They've released 2 new cameras, a new lens, and announced a bunch of upcoming firmware updates. The S1 II and S1 IIe complete their new trio of S1 Mark II cameras with the also recently announced S1 R2. The S1 II and IIe share a lot. They use the same body design, media, battery, menu system, updated autofocus system, and range of updated video and photography features such as false colour and their new SSD offload function. But they have one big difference, the sensors that they use, and this changes quite a lot. The S1 IIe features similar sensor technology to the S5 II, whereas the S1 II features a new partially stacked full-frame 24 megapixel sensor, which means this sensor edges out the S1 IIe when it comes to overall performance. Both of these cameras are really good additions from Panasonic, but especially the S1 II, which offers a lot of performance for its just under £2,900 price. If you want to learn all the details and differences, check out our in-depth review of the S1 II, link to which is in the description. When Panasonic released these cameras, they also announced a few new firmware updates coming soon for these new cameras and the S1 R2. For all 3 cameras, this includes getting the ability to use multiple frame markers at the same time, and you'll be able to buy an upgrade to use Arilog C3 in these cameras, which is really great. For the S1 R2, the firmware will bring its features in line with the other 2 cameras. This includes a bunch of new features including the new SSD transfer function, 8.1K OpenGate, RAW over HDMI, UVC and UEC over USB, the autofocus updates from the S1 II, and updated lens controls. Fingers crossed they are available to download soon. They also announced the 24-60 f2.8 lens. This sits between the 20-60mm kit lens from the S5 cameras and the 24-70 f2.8 Pro line lens. It's going to cost just under £900, which for an f2.8 zoom is pretty good. It's also much smaller than the Pro series lens. It's much more in line design-wise to the 20-60mm, though it is improved optically over that lens. It's also a really good size and weight for an f2.8 zoom and has a custom function button which you can redefine in the menu of S-series cameras. During our time shooting with it, I didn't really miss the 10mm difference at the long end, and I think considering its size, weight and price, there had to be a slight compromise somewhere. We didn't have loads of time with the lens to test it, but from our initial images we managed to capture, it looks pretty good considering its size and cost. And I think it will become a good kit lens alternative for these new series of Lumix S cameras. Lastly, they announced 5-year extended warranties in the UK and some EU countries. If you want to learn more about this, I've put links in the description below. Sakk have announced a bunch of new products. This includes a range of backpacks and bags, but also 2 new versions of their sack. The Sakk Attach and a new inflatable version of the saddle called the Pump Sack. This new pump version has an inflatable air system that allows you to adjust the height and firmness of the saddle. This would be good for user preference and for different camera configurations and weights. The regular Sakk uses high density polyester beans which can't be adjusted. This will make this new pump version better for travel, as well as you'll be able to let the air out to take up less space during travel and then inflate it when you need to shoot. The regular Sakk isn't going anywhere, and this new version is the same price. It will just depend on what option you think is better for you. The Attach is a new harness system version that comes with both the support vest and a custom Sakk designed to be used with the harness system. This Attach system will help distribute the weight of your camera better than just the single strap of the original Sakks. Unfortunately, existing Sakks will not work with the Attach, and the vest will not be purchasable separately. It will also limit the position of the Sakk when mounted, but it can be removed when you want to use the Sakk separately. Both of these look like really nice solutions and aren't incredibly expensive given what they offer. The new pump Sakk is £137 and the Sakk Attach is £190. Back in October last year, Sennheiser announced the Profile Wireless, a dual-channel wireless audio system, and this month they announced a single-channel version of that, which is going to cost £169 versus the $239 of the two-channel set. The two-channel set comes with everything the single does, but also with the charging bar for all to live in and the extra transmitter. You can use the charging bar with the transmitters and use it like a little handheld mic if you want to, which is quite nice. With this, they also released firmware which brings 32-bit flow internal recording to both of these. The firmware is available to download now for existing Profile Wireless owners, and honestly, this was something that this system was missing versus its competition. It's a killer update and makes this system really competitive now. It's honestly crazy how many great options we have now for affordable wireless audio. Blackmagic have released DaVinci Resolve 20, which is available to download right now, and it includes a bunch of new features and updates. However, one thing that has caught my eye is the addition of the RED Raptor X's extended highlight mode into Resolve via the RED SDK. For those not familiar, RED's Raptor X has this mode where it captures two different exposures extremely quickly and combines them to give us close to 20 stops of dynamic range. This isn't affecting how the camera's regular dynamic range is mapped, it just extends the highlights, and you can toggle this on and off in post and in camera. RED have been refining the software behind this since they released it over a year ago now, and it has been limited to only being available in RED Cine X, so it's great to see this finally make its way into Resolve so you can use this feature while also doing your color pass. The toggle for this is in the raw parameters panel and it's a simple tick box. You can see a clear difference between this mode on and off, but it does come at the cost of playback and increased recording data rates. If you want to learn more about this feature and the Raptor X, check out our review. It's still one of my personal favourite cameras. Amaran have announced two new series of lights, the Verge and the Verge Max. Both of these are panel fixtures aimed at connected, space-conscious creators wanting nice soft light that is compact and controllable. The Verge is a rectangle panel, whereas the Max is a circular one, which is pretty large. They've both clearly been more designed for people filming themselves, as their physical controls are on the fronts of the fixtures, so you can control them while sitting in front of them. You can also control them through the Amaran desktop app and even Steam Decks. They've also announced a bunch of accessories for mounting them in different ways, as well as some modifiers. They look like quite nice little lights and could be good for creators wanting something easily controllable in smaller desk environments. The Max looks like it could be a nice alternative to an LED cob with a nice size Ultra on it, especially with the optional grid. They are also relatively affordable. Links to all of this are in the description. DJI have announced their new Mavic 4 Pro drone. This new drone has a 3-camera system that can be rotated a full 360 degrees, which can result in some really interesting imagery as well as make it great for portrait shooting. Its main camera is a 100 megapixel 4/3 CMOS sensor, which gives a 28mm 35mm format equivalent field of view. You then have two telecameras, one 48 megapixel with a 70mm equivalent field of view, and one 50 megapixel with a 168mm equivalent field of view. This is a really nice range, and the test images I've seen from this look really nice. It can capture 6K up to 60, 4K up to 120 frames, and all three cameras can capture full D-Log in 4210-bit, which is a serious upgrade over the previous Mavic Pro. It also supposedly has improved low-light imaging and active track performance, has an estimated 51-minute flight time, and uses DJI's O4 Plus video transmission system. It will be available with 64 or 512GB of internal storage, and this actually changes what internal formats you can record. With the 512GB one, you can record H.264 all-I, which the 64GB one can't do. There's a bunch of different combinations available that range in price from £1,879 to £3,209 depending on what you need. HollyLand have announced two new wireless audio systems, the Lark Max 2 and Lark A1. The Lark A1 is a lower-end wireless audio system designed for vloggers and creators using smartphones. It's a low-cost solution that's got a bunch of features designed to make it very easy to use. It can work with either USB-C or Lightning devices, can record 24-bit 48 kHz, and has built-in noise reduction and clip protection. The Lark Max 2 is more aimed at people using a camera, and it looks to have some pretty interesting features. It has its own timecode generator, which can be output via 3.5mm and USB-C UAC. It has wireless monitoring using the included earpiece, can record 32-bit float on the transmitters, as well as send it wirelessly to the receiver, and supports up to 4 transmitters to a single receiver, which is really impressive. I can't find any more details about this, but on HollyLand's website they have created a hot shoe adapter so you can use the receiver without needing to use a cable, with Sony cameras that is. It looks like a really interesting wireless set, and HollyLand has a few features here that other systems at this price don't. Both of these new sets are available to pre-order now on our website. Up next, Insta360 announced their latest camera, the X5. This new camera features dual 1x1.28 inch sensors, which should improve overall image quality. It can capture 8K up to 30, 5.7K up to 60, and 4K up to 120 frames per second, and now has the ability to have its lenses replaced, which addresses some user feedback on how easily scratched the lenses are on their previous cameras. It is waterproof up to 15 meters, has improved battery life, and a range of new shooting modes. It's available now for £519 camera only, but is available with some other bundles as well. Right, let's get into our quickfire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description. Atomos have announced the Studio Sonic shotgun mic, a wireless or wired shotgun microphone. Arri has released a range of updates to their ECS system. C7 Adapters launched a new PL and E mount conversion kit for the EF mount versions of the Blackmagic Pixis cameras. Canon has had their CAT approved by Netflix and announced the RF mount 75-300mm f4 to 5.6 zoom. Douglas have shown off their Cine mod for the Zeiss Otus ML. This adds consistent front rings, caps, declicks the aperture and adds a nice focus gear. Emotimo announced their new Danadolly V3 integration kits. Godox have released the NOLED MG2400R, a 2650 watt RGB LED fixture, and the MG6K, a 4300 watt bi-color fixture which looks to have some very impressive output. Kibitai have released their new electronic variable ND drop-in filter cartridge for their RF to EF adapters. It has a 0.6 to 2.1 range and can be controlled on the unit or wirelessly. Laowa announced their new 15mm f4.5 0.5 times wide angle macro, and their new probe zooms are available to pre-order now. Leica has released firmware updates for the SL3 and the SL3S. Matthews released the Micro Grip Master rigging kit. MID49 have released a sunshade and cover for the Red DSMC3 Touch 7-inch. Modulate have released the L2 Pro Tuner, a PL to PL 1.4 times expander, which will be usable with a range of lenses and cameras. Mutiny has announced the ISO X2 and ISO X2 Plus SDI isolators. Nanlite have released a new Bowens mount 25 to 45 degree protection attachment and have announced the Evoke 150C and 600C. Nissi launched the JetMag Pro True Color Magnetic Variable ND. I'm interested to check this out as Nissi's filters are normally very good. Rode launched their new NTH50 on-ear headphones and an update for the Wireless Micro, which allows you to connect a transmitter directly to an iPhone over Bluetooth without the receiver. Portkeys announced the PT5 III, their new 5.4-inch 1080p monitor with a peak brightness of 800 nits, and it looks to run their new MovNorm operating system. Sandmark have introduced their new star filter for iPhone and other smartphones. SmoHD have released PageOS 6.1.0 and announced the Ultra 10 Bolt 6 RX. Smori has announced a cage kit for the EOS R50V and their new HPS99 Power Grip, a 36 watt USB PD battery grip that looks pretty versatile. Tilta have announced cages for the new series of S1 II cameras from Panasonic. TLS have announced that they are now rehousing Zeiss standard speed lenses. TT Artisan have announced two new lenses, a 35mm f1.4 tilt lens for APS-C mirrorless cameras, and a 35mm t2.1 cine lens, which has the ability to change the bokeh look of the lens between soft and bubble. Given the pretty low cost of this lens, it could be quite a unique lens to have some fun experimenting with. Viltrox released the DCA1 7-inch monitor, which looks incredibly similar to the one that comes standard on the Ronin 4D. It has a peak brightness of 2800 nits, is full HD, has a HDMI input and output, and weighs 348 grams. Voigtlander have announced the Portrait Heliar 75mm f1.8 for Sony E-mount cameras. The unique thing about this lens is being able to control the spherical aberration between over and under corrected on the barrel of the lens. Vocast have released a new compact top handle, and lastly, Xi'an announced the Cinepeer CX50 and CX50 RGB, both of which are 50-watt LED cob fixtures, and they also announced the Molus X100 RGB light, a pretty compact 100-watt cob light that has been co-designed with Cam Mackey. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you subscribe ready for next month's Quick Kit, and let us know what kit you've picked up this month in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.